Hello everyone, I'm Squizzles and this is my show. We are going to dive into Magic the Gathering a good bit around here, so hopefully I can get some listeners. Unfortunately, I don't have the greatest equipment for making YouTube videos, but I'll do my best. Without further ado, let's get going, shall we? So it's July finally, and Eventide is almost here. After glancing over the spoilers that Wizards had been posting on MagicTheGathering.com's mini site for Eventide, I've seen some really neat and fun things that Eventide can bring to this table. I've pulled some cards from the mini site and one or two cards from Set Standard to show you some of the neat little combos that Eventide can actually bring. Alright, here we have a Restless Apparition. Basically 3 black or white mana for a 2/2 with Persist. Decent enough card seeing as that its effect is tap 3 black or white mana to make it a 5/5. It's pretty cool, I'd say. And here we have a Light from Within. Also a very nice card for either mono white or black white decks. It has Chroma ability, which being as the new mechanic in Eventide, can make a creature or spell another step up in play depending on certain colored mana symbols. Essentially what these two cards do is pump up the apparition to be a 5/5 with Persist, and if you pay that pretty little mana cost now, it becomes a nice little 8/8 with Persist. Here we have a Primaclux. Personally, I love this card, but what happens when it comes into play, even by itself, is a 6/6 trampler. But if you happen to have a couple more creatures in play that also have mana symbols, he gets bigger. Now, what is neat is now that they have green-blue coming out for Eventide, this makes me think. Having such a big critter to smash your opponents may be fine and dandy, but what would make it fun would be have something in the deck like Mirror Weave as shown. What Mirror Weave does is makes all of the creatures a copy of target non-legendary creature until end of turn, and say you have 2 or 3 creatures and your opponent has 1 but it's tapped out. So you can play the card and all your monsters become copies of the Primaclux and have the same exact mana symbols as he does. Well, let's do a little math here. 6 mana symbols in 1 Primaclux, so say 3 copies of him with the Mirror Weave. 6 times 4 equals all of them being a 24/24 Trampler, which in my opinion is ever so fun. Well, since we are almost out of time for my first ever show, I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself. I'm from Southeast Louisiana. I absolutely love to play Magic. I work at the local Walmart, which may seem funny to you, but it really doesn't matter to me because I know at least I'm making money and doing something. I mean, also I love listening to music. I listen to bands such as The Fall of Troy and Coheed and Cambria. I listen to some other bands, but not as much. Those two are basically the ones that I listen to. The colors that I play in Magic is mostly green, straight mono green. I play green mostly because of cheap spells and big results. You could play like a 2 mana creature for 1 turn, and in 2 or 3 turns it'll become something like a 5/5. I sometimes lean into green or red green or blue green because I feel they're pretty good to play with in decks. Essentially burn spells and counter spells with green. So, well, this is gonna wrap up the first show for me this week. So, stay tuned.